You live in a noisy world, constantly bombarded with loud music, sirens, construction equipment, jet airplanes, rumbling trucks, leaf blowers, lawnmowers, and tree cutters. These human-made and unnatural sounds invade your senses and keep silence at bay. In fact, you've been raised in a culture that not only eschews silence but is terrified of it. The car radio must always be on, and any pause in conversation is a moment of embarrassment that most people quickly fill with chatter. For many, being alone is a nightmare, and being alone in silence is pure torture. The famous scientist Blaise Pascal once observed, "All man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room, alone." The value of silence. There's a momentary silence in the space between your thoughts that you can become aware of with practice. In this silent space, you'll find the peace that you crave in your daily life. You'll never know that peace if you have no spaces between your thoughts. The average person is said to have 60,000 separate thoughts every day. With so many thoughts, there are almost no gaps. If you could reduce that number by half, you would open up an entire world of possibilities for yourself. For it is when you merge into the silence and become one with it that you reconnect to your source and know the peacefulness that some call God. "Be still and know that I am God," says it so beautifully in the Psalms of the Old Testament. The key words are still and know. Be still actually means silence. Mother Teresa described silence and its relationship to God by saying, "God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, grass grow in silence. See the stars, the moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls." This includes your soul. It's really the space between the notes that makes the music you enjoy so much. Without the spaces, all you would have is one continuous, noisy note. Everything that's created comes out of silence. Your thoughts emerge from the nothingness of silence. Your words come out of this void. Your very essence emerged from emptiness. Those who will supersede us are waiting in the vast void. All creativity requires some stillness. Your sense of inner peace depends on spending some of your life energy in silence to recharge your battery and remove tension and anxiety and reacquaint you with the joy of knowing God and feel closer to all of humanity. Silence reduces fatigue and allows you to experience your own creative juice. The second word in the Old Testament observation is know. Know, K-N-O-W, refers to making your personal and conscious contact with God. To know God is to banish doubt and become independent of others' definitions and descriptions of God. Instead, you have your own personal knowing. And as Melville reminded us so poignantly, God's one and only voice is silence. Accessing more silence in your life. I urge you to demand more and more time for silence in your life. One of the most effective ways to bring this about is to make meditation a daily practice. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad meditation. Give yourself time to sit quietly alone. At first, your thoughts will take off trying to convince you that this is a waste of time, that you should be out there being productive, and that you've got so many other things to do. Hundreds of other unrelated thoughts will pop up in and out of your mind. But you can weather this thunderstorm of mental protestations by sitting quietly and becoming the observer to all of this inner chatter. Eventually, you'll be able to move to the gaps between your thoughts and notice how peaceful you felt in that silent gap when you emerged from it. Try it right now. Use the Lord's Prayer. Concentrate on the word our and then Father. Try to go into the gap between the two words, our and Father. Then do it again with who and art and in and heaven. Just slip momentarily into the gap and notice how peaceful and exquisite you feel in that gap. I teach a meditation which I describe in detail and guide you through with my voice in a CD cassette called Meditations for Manifesting. This meditation uses the sound of ah as a mantra to keep your thoughts from wandering during the morning meditation. This mantra sound is in virtually all names of the divine. Listen for it, for example, in God, Yahweh, Allah, Krishna, Jehovah, Ra, Ptah. By repeating this mantra sound, you make conscious contact with God. The evening meditation uses the sound of Om, the sound of gratitude for all that has manifested in your life. Repeating the sound of ah in the morning and om in the evening for approximately 20 minutes creates an opportunity for you to experience inner peace and success in a way you may never have known before. There are many opportunities to access silence. I try to meditate each time I stop at a red light. With the car stopped and my body inactive, frequently the only things still moving are the thoughts in my mind. I use those 2 minutes or so at the stoplight to bring my mind into harmony with my inert car and body. I get a wonderful bonus of silence. I probably stop at a red light 20 or 30 times in a day, creating 40 minutes to an hour of silence. And there's always someone behind me to let me know when my time is up by breaking the silence with a honking horn. Meditation not only affects you, it impacts everyone around you. When you're at peace, you radiate a different kind of energy than when you're stressed or depressed. The more peaceful you become, the easier you can deflect the negative energies of those you encounter. This is like having an invisible shield around you that nothing can penetrate unless it's at a higher spiritual energy than your shield. A hostile current is greeted with a smile and an inner knowing that this is not your stuff. A person who attempts to bring you into their misery cannot succeed without your agreement. Your meditation practice keeps you immune. Not only can you deflect the negativity of those around you, but your sense of peace will bring others into harmony with you.